some floors in. Go ahead and show them the floor we just put in. Kind of difficult. I'm not a carpenter at all. So we just started out taking 6-inch increments, measuring the distance from the center line to the boat, to each side, port and starboard, and it turned out pretty good. We're going to start doing the same thing on the front here. Probably going to mess it up. We got to get around this fuel. This is where the fuel filler neck goes, and it's just a little access there. So we took some measurements, the distance from this corner, or this side of the Coosa, up to here for the corner. I don't know. We'll see if it works. We got the fuel tank set in today. Did some total boat horrible foam action. Here we got it's a 2-pound density flotation foam. It was a bit of a catastrophe at first, but with some good help, we got it worked in there, set in.
Yeah, catastrophe.
Yeah, that's all that we had to cut out beforehand. But yeah, it's starting to look like a boat again. So we're gonna start taking some measurements for some floors. Hopefully we won't screw it up. Yeah, I guess either fail or succeed. Hey, what's up everybody? So, little update. Me and my buddy Steven, we got the floors about 90% finished the other day. What you see here is the bottom side of the middle floor that's going to be going over the gas tank. See, we got, put it in here, leave this little gap here. So I'm going to box this in here. That way the controls and everything, I'm going to have a 3-inch swept, I think it's a swept 90-degree PVC elbow going down here and then popping up where the console is going to be. So the piece that I have now is right over there by the fuel filler neck and right over the gas tank. Got the gas tank put in as well, using that Total Boat flotation foam. Worked out really well. My GoPro's charging right now, so I can only go like 3 feet away from the charger. Worked out really well once I figured out how much it expanded and how quick it expanded. I set a little base layer down on the bottom of the boat, the hull, because I didn't want the tank resting directly on the hull in case, you know, in case it does decide to shift or move at any point in time. Being that it's plastic, I don't want it to rub a hole in it. However, with this flotation foam, I only use a 2-pound density foam, and that thing is not going anywhere. The only issue that I'm having, sorry, I've been working for the last 2 hours, I haven't drank anything. The only issue I'm having is that there's this centerline stringer that I built that goes all the way up to the gas tank. Let me jump in here and I'll bring you around. This centerline stringer that I ran, I ended up having to build onto the one that was already there. Built this centerline stringer, and there's 2 bulkheads, one in front and one in the rear, and then I ran a PVC pipe underneath the gas tank that has access to the front there, where the if I can get away, where any water might potentially drain. So I had to install this stringer here because there just was not enough support up there at all for what's going to be happening. But you got the PVC drain in there that runs under the entire tank, the flotation foam, and like I said, I mean, this thing is stuck in there good. And then it comes out right there and it'll drain back to the bilge. This is the Total Boat Total Bilge epoxy paint that I wanted to put on the inside. just because with this polyester resin, sorry, I'm gonna plug you back up. With this polyester resin, when it gets wet, I noticed that it was kind of like turning a little cloudy, and I didn't want like rainwater to get in, or you know, really any water where it's going to be sitting. I wanted to make sure that it had this total bilge, or like this epoxy paint on it, so it wasn't gonna, you know, potentially saturate into the polyester resin and maybe cause delamination down the line. I got it on Amazon. It wasn't super cheap, but it was cheap enough to where I could justify using it, and hopefully it working. I went a little overboard, as you can see. I got a gallon on accident instead of a quart, and so I just painted the inside of here. This is, I mean, I don't know. I just wanted everything to be protected. Like I said, might be overkill. So got this stringer built, but the issue is, being this is the Nautical 15 Coosa, it's too loud. It flexes a lot. And with that gas tank right there, there's no stringer running down the middle of it. So everyone that I talk to says once I put a layer of fiberglass on the front and the back side of the Coosa, it'll make it strong enough. But I just want to make sure. So I'm going to do some experimentation. We're going to put, I got 15 yards of 1208 instead of 1708 that I'm going to be putting on the bottom. And I'm going to see how that is. And then I'm going to go over 1708 potentially on the top. I plan on doing 1208 everywhere that there is enough stringers. Like for here on the back, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stringers, and they're roughly I don't know, let's see, my foot is at 11.5 to 13, 14 inches apart. So there's a lot of coverage, a lot of support. But with that gas tank there, you know, there's going to be a seat over top of it eventually, and then I'm building a step up as well that'll also be supported. So there's not going to be a lot of weight right there, so I'm hoping I can get away with just using, you know, the Coosa, the Nautical 15, and 2 layers of 1708, or I'm sorry, 1208, and we'll see how firm this Coosa gets, the Nautical 15 gets, with 1 layer of 1208, and then I'll go over, well, I'll determine what route I go, whether I put a layer of 1708 just on that front there, or put 2 layers of 1708. I don't know. Either way, I don't want to put anything really across the gas tank, just because I got it set in there. It's nice and pretty now. It's not going anywhere. So that's where I'm at now. I just glassed in that very front stringer there. There's going to be all storage in the front where it looks super ugly up there. That's going to be all boxed in. It's going to be a step up, roughly 16 inches, I think, or 12 inches. I don't know what the total height is. And it's going to, you know, have a gradual incline up to the front. But I wanted to make sure that there was enough support under there. Whatever I put under there is going to be an anchor. And it's the front of the boat too. So if I hit a gnarly wave, I want to make sure that it's not going to, you know, go anywhere, you know, flex the fiberglass hull at all. So that's where we're at. We're gonna go do some fiberglass, and I'm gonna let that harden. I did mixed up some thickened resin with the silica and the chopped strand fibers, milled fibers, and just sneezed it all down to that existing channel that I left, because I left about that much of the existing fiberglass. Put the stringer down into the slot, and you know, got it. I ran a string, and got it to the right height, and then I've been going with chop string matting, getting the curves good, and then I'm gonna go over later tomorrow and fiberglass it in the whole way. But I'm gonna let that dry tonight, and I'm gonna experiment with this back here and get some fiberglass laid down on this bottom piece and stick it in there and see how stiff it is. And yeah, hopefully it goes according to plan. Everything else has been going pretty smooth. Just got to finish these floors so I can finish this transom. like I said, when the bracket gets in, when I mount the bracket, then I'll figure out where I want to drill the hole at for the controls to run through. I'm thinking I'm gonna try and keep it on the inside here. So if I can put the hole like right about here, and then have, you know, that 3-inch PVC pipe running. The steering is the only problem because I'm running with an old 2-stroke, and you know, it's got that steering cable, and the thing does not bend well at all. So hopefully I have enough room here to bend the steering cable and then pop up right over here in front of the gas tank where the console is going to be. So I don't know. Well, really at this point I just kind of got to go with the flow, and whatever pops up, and find a workaround. So we get to do some fiberglass, and hopefully this 1208 doesn't soak up as much resin. I don't think it will, just because it's 1208 versus 1708. So I'm saving myself there's 5 ounces of the woven on top of the chop strand. So I'm gonna stop rambling on, and we're gonna get the fiberglass in. Well, that did not turn out too bad at all. It's going to be on, this is going to be on the bottom underneath, so I was not super concerned about all the tiny microscopic air bubbles, although a lot of them came out. I have learned throughout my experience messing with this Coosa on how much resin that it actually soaks up. It's kind of crazy. If you have never used it before, make sure you put a lot of resin down. I used I want to say it was 1.5 pints just to wet this down. Now this is almost a 4x8 sheet. I had to cut it down, of course, so it's not a complete 4x8 sheet. Let me get some measurements here. If I can find a stupid tape measure. Alright, got the tape measure. So, like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, this piece is 80 inches long by 48 because I never trimmed down the sides. Duh. So 80 by 48. Not quite a 4x8 sheet. Put a 1.5 pints of resin just to wet it down. Now it's all in my arms. And that, you probably, I don't know if you could see it too well in the time lapse, but this Coosa absorbs it quick as shit. Like you can see just it falling into the pores of the Coosa. So you want to make sure you put plenty of resin down. I then mixed up 2.5 pints. Sorry, I'm trying to look at my thing. For the resin. Now this is 1208, not 1708, like I mentioned earlier. And it was just enough to get me to right about here. And then I freaked out because my little 1-gallon jug was empty, and I went and filled it up, and then I poured in a pint. A pint was too much. I wasted, unfortunately, I'm gonna lose about 1/2 pint of resin. So I'll use 3 pints next time. Granted, the next piece is going to be slightly bigger, so I'm going to probably start with 3 pints just to be safe and wet it down. And maybe I'll do just a little bit more resin. Maybe I'll do 2.5 pints, and then maybe close to a quart to wet it down, then leave a lot of extra residual resin on the Coosa. So that way there's more on there, because it's being absorbed by the Coosa and by this fiberglass, and it just like disappears. Now I'm very thoroughly impressed with my work here, because there are some small air bubbles here and there, but overall, like, I got really good coverage with the resin, I got really good coverage with the 1208. I don't know if you noticed, but I cut it about a, I don't know, I'm not good at measuring. 3/8 of an inch smaller than this actual board, because it stretches out when you put the resin on it, of course. It didn't stretch as much as I thought it would, so I still have a little gap on the sides, but it's really the least of my worries. Not hugely concerned. Like, this is going to be the main where people are going to be standing. So I'm going to wrap this up, let it dry, go take a shower, get this sticky shit off me, let that center stringer dry in the very front where I put that, and then tomorrow have some time. Hopefully I'll be able to put this sucker in there, see how firm it is with one layer on it, and go from there, I guess. It's starting to look like a boat again. I gotta do it with my transom bracket guy. Hopefully he's got that thing finished up. I'm pretty excited to put that on, but got it all. It's fair for the most part. I still need to come back and sand it down, but there were a couple spots where it just was there. This is where the notch used to be here, so it was not dead flat down here, and then there were some other spots where I sucked in this existing hull to the Coosa with, you know, screws everywhere, so there were some uneven spots, but she's feeling pretty flat now. I don't think, well, we'll see what happens when I sand it down, but I'm not going for it'll be as dead flat as I can get it with my skill level. So if we put that bracket on here though, then we'll really be making some progress. But I still got to finish up the center console. I've got a little bit of fairing left to do on that, and then I got to re-drill all the holes for the steering wheel, the gauges, not sure what else. I'm going to find a switch panel somewhere. I think I'm going to go with New Wire Marine. I'm going to have them build me one, because I did that on my Grady White. Turned out great with like the etched and backlit lights with the, I'm sorry, fuses. No, switches with the fuse built in, etched and backlit. It was really, really clean install, and just a really overall good product. So you need a switch panel, not sponsored by them by any means, but I highly recommend their products. You can pay, I think, to speed up their, will speed the process up so you get your switch panel back quicker than, you know, normal, if you like need it in a hurry. But I'm gonna take my time with this because this boat is not gonna be done anytime soon. So I'm gonna take some measurements, figure out what all switches I want, and they custom make everything, cut it out of whatever material. I'm just gonna go with probably black and then paint it over, and yeah, and then I'll be getting some paint here soon. I think I picked out the color. It's going to be a bluish, grayish color. I'm going to go with Alexial, I don't know how you say it, Yacht Coatings. Spoke with the guy, Brian, yesterday. There's a place here, well not here, but in Deltaville apparently that sells it. Sells the paint at retail. So I'll be getting with them, getting some paint for this thing, and painting the hull, the blue, below the water line. I'm not sure if I'm going to copper it yet, because it's never been coppered, and it's a really pretty hull on the bottom. I don't know if I want to cover it up or not. And then the inside in the gunnel, or the cap, will be we go with like a snow white, something bright white, with an anti-slip in the bottom. So that is the plan. Lots of work to do, little amount of time. Yesterday was the first day of fall, I think. The day before, I don't know. It's not hot anymore. I feel like I can just dive right into this thing now and not die of heat exhaustion or humidity. So we're making progress. See you later.